The point of this video today is to go over chapter 12 study guide questions with you. So that's what we're looking at in this video. It should be pretty short because there's only 6, but I want to make sure that if you read, you are not missing understanding. All right, number 1. Well, first of all, remember at this point when we start chapter 12, chapter 11 ended with Piggy's death at the hands of Roger. So Piggy, the glasses, well, most of the glasses and the conch are all gone at this point, okay? And something notable, again, with that is that it said the sea came in and went out and took Piggy's body with it. So again, same as Simon, they didn't have to bury anybody. They didn't have to really face the consequences for straight up killing him, which is what happened. All right. So Ralph is totally by himself. He's kind of on the run. And that is where we pick up chapter 12. Okay. We're going to start with number 2. Driven by fear and hunger, Ralph manages to make contact with Sam and Eric, who are standing guard at Castle Rock. Of what do they warn him? So he's hiding. He goes up there actually to see if he can find Sam and Eric, specifically because he feels like he has a chance of winning them back to his side. And he says, come on, the 3 of us can do it. We can survive. We'll have a chance if the 3 of us do this together. And they are very reluctant, but not cruel to him. They haven't totally been converted, but they do say, you need to run and don't stop running. Jack is going to hunt you tomorrow. So you need to get out of here. Number 3, in what ways does the tribe try to hunt down Ralph? The way that Sam and Eric describe it is that they are going to spread out and cross the width of the island and then start marching in a line so that it would be impossible to miss him. Number 4, what or who saves Ralph in the end? Somebody yells smoke, and he is running and falls down on the beach and sees a naval officer standing there who says, I saw your smoke, and is kind of laughing. He doesn't really get it yet. And then he starts to ask some hard questions. Are there any dead bodies, or are there any dead people? And Ralph can't even speak at this time. He's no words. He's just nodding his head yes, or shaking his head no. Are there any dead body, or have there been any killings? And Ralph shakes his head yes, nods his head yes. Dead bodies? And he shakes his head no, because they've gone out to sea, and he says that. And he's kind of figuring it out. He starts to see the little savages come forward. And I want you to notice in between these questions something really, I'll show you in a minute. I'm just going to pull the story up and show you in a minute. Number 5, what do we see Ralph do for the very first time at the end of the story? He weeps. He breaks down into sobbing tears. He's kind of held it together this whole time. We haven't seen him cry yet, but when he realizes it's over, we're safe, he just breaks down into tears. And then all the kids around him start sobbing too. What literary allusion does the officer make? You know what? I'm just going to show you. I should have had this pulled up already, so forgive me, but I want to show you in the text. Sorry. Oh my gosh, I'm like my grandma right now. So at the very end, we see some really important stuff here. He says right here, well, he kind of shames them. Come on, y'all are all British. You should have been able to do better than this. Ralph says, we were together then. And look what the officer says right here. I know, jolly good show like the Coral Island. Now, I shouldn't have to tell you what that is an allusion to. So I'm going to tell you that's the literary allusion. But we've already seen it in this book, and I taught you about it before we started reading. So if you're not sure, go look it up, okay? And And then we see right here, the tears began to flow and sobs shook him. He gave himself up to them now for the first time on the island. Great shuddering spasms of grief that seemed to wrench his whole body. And then I want you to, it says the other little boys began to shake and sob too. Ralph wept for the end of innocence, the darkness of man's heart, and the fall through the air of the true wise friend called Piggy. And we realize here that he really hasn't even had time to grieve Piggy's death because he's just been trying to stay alive. I want to show you two things that happen right before this. We see Percival come up. Oh, before we look at Percival, let's look at this. Right down here. When he starts talking to him, he says, "Who's boss here?" Ralph says, "I am." And then this paragraph right here, or this little line, is so important. It says, "A little boy who wore the remains of an extraordinary black cap on his red hair and who carried the remains of a pair of spectacles at his waist started forward, then changed his mind and stood still." Okay, so obviously we know the black cap, the red hair, he's got the glasses. This is Jack, but you would never know it based on the way he describes him here. A little boy. And he is that. To this adult, to this man who's shown up, they are all these little boys. So yeah, he had become this savage leader, the chief of this tribe of savages, but at the end, he is still just this little boy. So it's kind of shocked them all back to reality. Oh yeah, okay, look right here. Other boys were appearing now, tiny dots, some of them brown. One of them, and in the book, it says right here, one of them came closer to the officer and looked up. I'm, but there was no more to come. Percival sought on his head for an incantation that had faded clean away. At this point, y'all, he doesn't even remember who he is. He doesn't even know his name anymore. Remember, Percival is our crier, the one that said even his mom didn't think he was cute, but he can't even remember his own name. That's how far they've come. Okay, so some important, sad things at the end of the chapter that kind of bring the whole book together at the end, but I want you to be aware of those. All right, I thought I would do this quicker than that. I said more words than I planned on. Sorry. Hope this helps you with chapter 12. Remember, you need to be working on your projects. They're due Sunday night, okay? So you've got lots of freedom with those. You can kind of decide whether it's fictional shows or real shows from Netflix. I just want to see you being creative. Same thing with Amazon if you choose that, okay?